Welcome to another episode of The Crossover. I'm your host, Brian, and your co-host right here is Ravi. We're going to be doing it again. We had a really good first episode. Got a lot of great feedback from folks. Keep it up. Once again, give us your comments, like us, love us, wherever you want to do, man. Just, tweet us out wherever on Facebook or Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe, of course, is the most important thing, but we love the support so far, and we'll keep it going.
I love it. We want to hear it.
Exactly. So we're going to get right into it. I said before, we're going to split the show up in two parts. This week, right now, we'll start the first part. We usually pick a game that we want to focus on from this past week. And I think the most obvious game was in the Eastern Conference. Cavaliers go to the Windy City to play Chicago. They ended up winning an overtime game. Lots of fallout coming out of this game, Rav. What's your thoughts on it, man? What do you think when you see the two teams matching up?
Well, I mean, it started off as a great matchup. I don't think this is a game where, the Cavs can say, or Cavs fans can say that they sent, it was a statement win by any means, especially with Rose missing, the majority of the second half with the ankle injury. I believe Jimmy Butler, he was also out with a thumb injury as well, too.
Right.
Without one of their key guys in Rose, and without one of their key role guys in Butler, Chicago still took the Cavs to overtime. It still took them to overtime to get that victory. So, it's going to be interesting down the stretch once Chicago gets all their guys healthy. Looking forward to seeing that matchup, a few more times in the regular season and leading into the playoffs. But, I'll address the Cleveland haters right now. So calm down. It's obviously going to take them some time to gel, to get used to each other on the court, get the timing down, get the spacing right. So it's going to take some time. It was the same situation in Miami that first season. They didn't come out the game.
500, I think their first 14, 15 games, like 9-8 or 8-7 or something like that, or 8-8. So, and to your point, I think LeBron's first game, I heard the other day on ESPN, his first game with Miami, he had 8 turnovers as well in the first game. So, I totally
it'll take the guys some time to get going. Yeah. But Cleveland will be all right.
Yeah. Strangely enough, it's kind of ironic, and we shouldn't be surprised, but I found it very ironic that of the new big three, Love seems to be the most comfortable at the beginning of this whole situation, and it's not surprising because the way that they're looking to play, very similar in this case in Miami with a big picking and popping and stuff like that. That's Love's game by nature. While in Bosch's case, he had to kind of conform himself and kind of metamorphose into that type of player. And as we see now, he still has some of those elements, but he's going back to kind of more his Toronto style. But with Love's naturally like that. So to him, it's like, just give me the ball, let me just pop and take shots wherever I can take them. Rebounding doesn't take any sort of playmaking in this case here. You just go and get the ball. So his game should always, we shouldn't be surprised that his game came the easiest when it came to getting this thing flowing. And really, once again, a very similar situation with Wade and LeBron. You're seeing with Irving and LeBron. Figuring out when it comes to ball handling, heck, even waiters at times trying to figure out who's handling the rock coming up the court. I found it interesting that LeBron's mindset completely changed in the overtime.
Yeah,
it was like LeBron beast mode just came out all of a sudden, guy. He was going to hoop on everything, and that pretty much sealed the game at that point. He's like, I'm forget, he said, pretty much he gets, I'm tired of being polite.
It's not tired of being polite, but at the same time, I think it was the second game of the season, and I think he really wanted to set the tone because especially for the young guys on Cleveland, just from a psychological standpoint, you can't drop that game with Rose being out. That's a game that you got to win. You're on the road. You're in great position to take it. You got to close it out.
True. Well, let's look at the flip side now, old Chi-Town, and you kind of just touched on it, Rose. Here we go. I know in this case the ankle, you want to keep him up, so I'm not making a big deal about it. But I think it does set a certain type of fog and just a bad vibe on your team. It's like, dude's out again,
Exactly.
And the thing is with Rose and injuries, if there's anybody else who have ankle injury, it's like 2-3 days and he'd be back. Whatever the case would be, maybe a week tops. But I found it seems like when Rose has injuries, they start off looking like nothing. and then it starts to linger. Next thing you know, it's like, well, he's out for a week. Well, he's out for 3 weeks. Well, he's out for a month. And next thing you know, before you know it, all of a sudden we got a whole new situation starting up. So,
I mean, I find it's interesting because here's a guy who hasn't played, really for the past 2 years. And I mean, in the summertime at the Olympic Games, I mean, just looking and looking at him play and hearing the reviews of the FIBA games.
Yeah, the World Champs. Yeah.
The FIBA games. Sorry. Watching him play, watching the video of him play, and all the feedback was, he's back, he's great, he's looking well. But when it comes to NBA competition, I don't know. There's some question marks there.
Here's the irony. Another irony in this case. I thought that was the best game I've seen him play in 2 years. You count last year when he started the first 20 games or so. I didn't see any game last year looking like how I saw it play against Cleveland for the 3 quarters he played. That looked like old Rose in this case. He was attacking. He wasn't second guessing when they take his shots. Like he looked. Like he had 20 points or so before he got hurt. He looked impressive. He and Irving were going back and forth. And he looked kind of like the old Rose, the MVP Rose. That I was like, oh, well, okay, where's this dude been? So, it was good. Just as a basketball fan, it was good to see that, and then to see when the dude got hurt off of a play. It happens to almost everybody in this case. So
exactly,
we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, he'll be back, in another a few days or so. He get back out there. But I think the other thing that's very interesting, which we have to watch as the season goes on. I heard Simmons mention on the BS report a week ago, and it's something that really does need to be watched. Is Gasol's demeanor late in games, because Gasol was not happy sitting on that bench in the fourth quarter or in the overtime. He was not pleased sitting on the catching splinters. And I want to see how that's going to play out as the rest of the season when they're playing closer games. How much Gasol's going to sit there and just take that.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look at. Moving down the stretch. And, I mean, maybe it's a situation where it's the start of the season. Tibbs is trying to get a good read on him, where you can fit him in.
Right.
So hopefully that stuff will smooth out, because having Gasol in late in games, I mean, he can be productive. He can definitely be productive, and I mean especially in the East, you can't have him sitting on the bench.
But Tibbs likes defense first, right? So who's he going to play down the stretch? Gibson Noah or Noah Gasol?
But even if you go with Noah Gasol, you still have that length that Gasol gives you as well.
I hear you, but Gasol's a one-on-one defender compared to Gibson and Noah. And Gibson these days, from an offense standpoint, is looking pretty impressive. Gibson's no slouch on offense, and I think he's loyal to his guys, man. And if you're a Thibs guy, how he used to be a Riley dude, I think, I don't know if Gasol's going to see time late in games, man. I don't know, man. We'll see. Unless it warrants where they're trailing, they need offense. And he could command double, which in this case the other two guys really can't. I agree with you on that front. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see, because when it comes to Thibs in the bench, that's a whole other story. We discussed that last week. We'll find out about how he handles a full bench this year.
Exactly.
And now, just flipping it back one more point on Cleveland. What do you think of what the job? It's early, but what the job Black did with the offensive situation, as far as spreading the wealth a little bit amongst the 3 top players?
I mean, in the few games I've seen so far this season, I think it's. I mean, there's nothing really that jumped out at me as concerning or alarming. I think they're really just trying to figure out their spots, figure out the rotations. Who's subbing in, who's subbing out at certain points in the game.
Right.
But I mean, there was nothing that's really concerned me, thus far in the first few games.
Yeah, I noticed in this case he seems to be trying to phase Waiters into that second unit. We'll see how that plays as well too. Dion guy. He right now he thinks he's the best player in the Cleveland Cavaliers at the moment. So we'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean, it's good for the young guys to have that confidence. I think if LeBron can take him aside in the locker room and say, "Hey, young fella, we need you. We need you to lead that second group." I think coming from a guy like LeBron, it carries some weight, and you could probably change his mindset or influence his mindset to a certain extent.
Dion's got a little J.R. Smith there, but we'll leave it at that. So part 2 of the crossover for this week. Topic of the week, it's got to be Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook went down in the Clippers game the other night. Broken hand, I believe, out for about 6 weeks. Same time frame as Durant. Whoa, boy. For what I understand, for what some of the prognosticators and the NBA guys have said, it's about 22 games when they won't be playing with either Durant or Westbrook. In those 20 to 22 games, can they play 500? Because my mindset is they got to play 500 if they want to make the playoffs. If they're 5 games under 500, they ain't making it.
Well, the silver lining in this whole thing is I checked out their schedule for the entire season. So for the month of November, they actually have the easiest month out of the entire season.
I think they play 5 playoff teams in that stretch. That's it.
So around there, but the total win percentage for the teams they'll be playing is about 442. So they have some opportunities there to kind of tread water.
Right. We're gonna find out. These dudes, these Oklahoma City guys have talked a long time how they're a team and they got depth and stuff like that. And we're gonna find out, who's got game and who doesn't. I know Reggie Jackson right now is sitting there licking his chops because he can get some paper this year.
Well, actually, Reggie Jackson is out.
He's out, but he'll be back soon though.
Yeah, Jeremy Lamb is out. Yeah. Anthony Morrow's out.
Yeah, everyone can score.
Yeah.
Except for Ibaka. Is Ibaka a bunch of stiffs? I mean, Perry Jones III, he's probably sitting there going, yo, it's on me, guys. I got this.
Yeah. So I think from some of the news I saw earlier today, the OKC actually may apply for the league's hardship rule. In order to have him sign, they'll be allowed to sign another player.
Really?
Due to the guys that are missing.
This serves Oklahoma City right now because they're so damn cheap with themselves. Instead of them getting some real players to have with the 2 stars in this case, and instead of letting guys go at Harden or whatever the case because they can't give up Perkins, you get in the offseason, you're picking up Anthony Morrow. Years past you're picking up Derek Fisher. Like, really?
Well, I mean, the guys that's going to be getting most of the majority of Westbrook's minutes is Sebastian Telfair.
Right. I mean,
so it's on a team with championship hopes.
Jeez, you got two of the
not
two
the
of the best of their era guy, and you're playing with jabronis like this. Like, come on.
Exactly.
I mean, they deserve the fate they get. They've been cuting around this thing, playing on the cheap for the longest time. As they got some great plan. All they're doing is just playing on the cheap, playing with a bunch of rookie contracts in this case here.
Exactly.
And hoping for the best.
Exactly.
With a garbage coach, and then we're gonna find out about him. We're gonna find out about him. The sad part is he might get to keep his job for another year because of these injuries. That's the sad part.
I mean that's a crutch for him to stand on, right?
Right. It's like, oh Lord, you're an Oklahoma City fan. It's like, oh gosh, I've never seen that. They can't get worse.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see, how they make it through the month of November, because I mean they'll be without obviously Westbrook and Durant for at least the month of November. I mean they said Westbrook 4 to 6 weeks, but again that's depending on how the bone is healing.
Yeah, that hurt me though, man. That was my league pass West Coast, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I love watching Westbrook play, man.
I was looking forward to see, what would Westbrook do with his own team for a month.
Yeah, but
I was really looking forward to see that.
He had about half a month, 3 weeks, a couple of years ago when Durant was out for about 15 games or so.
Yeah,
and they played about 600 ball or so at that time. Now true, he had Harden with him at the time, so it made it a little easier. But I would. You're right. I would love to see unbridled, Westbrook. Just going at it, boy.
Well, like they call him in the streets, Furious Styles.
No doubt. He's must-see TV, boy. I don't miss where Westbrook's going. That's what he's got going on. So that hurt me in that sense when I heard that the next morning. Like, I turned up the games halftime. Okay. The same thing happened with Randall. I don't know what's up with these West Coast LA games, man. I turn off the TV at halftime and then boom, Randall's out for the season. And I see this I'm not nervous anytime I watch an LA game. Be it Clippers or Lakers.
Well, yeah, I was actually, I was watching that game, and when he went down, it was just one of those punch in the stomachs. Oh, yeah. All the air just went out. So.
Let's not get into them because I want to say them when they're about 0-12 in this case, and we can have a good discussion about that. Hold your fire. Save your powder, my friend. Hope you can give them a good 10-minute run when it's suiting up. Well, let's keep that to OKC. Oh boy, look at my chops for them. A big state. But OKC, oh my goodness. One interesting point though is if to your point, if the schedule plays out with the schedule playing out the way it does, and if they're able to stay above water, tread water, What I would find interesting is they say they get around there, hover around that 7 or 8 seed in the
Yeah.
playoff mix. Do teams at the top, like the Spurs, especially the Spurs, the Clippers, maybe Golden State, do they start jockeying around making sure they don't get that seed that's going to be bumping into Oklahoma City in the first round? I know for a fact, San Antonio, you know Popovich already. He will take some games if he wants to play OKC in the first round. And he will be like, yo, ball boy, come here, play a game with me. You in the back seat. You, 3 rows back, come and play today.
Well, don't be surprised Easter Sunday when that Spurs Cleveland matchup is on. Don't be surprised if you see Parker Ginobili and Duncan on the bench.
Right, I can't believe Ebola in that there. Like, yo, let me tell you something. He's gonna do everything he can to avoid that matchup with Oklahoma City guy. Good Lord,
that's not a matchup you want in the first round.
No, especially San Antonio doesn't match
they got their
up
guys
with them at all. And you think about it, they pretty much got a month break of rest, so that means their legs are gonna be a lot, fresher.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want any part of that. Nor the Clippers, to be quite honest with you. Neither one of them don't want that matchup. Chris Paul ain't want to see that. Tell you that right now.
Well,
CP3 don't want none of that. He and the commercials and the kid don't want to see that.
Well, this is Chris Paul's 10th year.
Yeah.
So his 10th year. So this is, I all eyes on Chris Paul this year.
Is it? All eyes on me, is your boy.
All eyes on me. Show and prove right now, Chris Paul.
It's
you got
done.
the team. You got the guns.
Yeah.
You got the coach.
Exactly.
You got the owner.
Right.
Come on.
No more
Show
free
proof.
passes for Chris Paul. I told you already. Did my Sacred Cows episode on him on Beyond the Locker Room. He's up there in Sacred Crowd. He and Durant. There's a few others out there, but I don't hear no more. No more excuses from this dude.
Yeah,
this dude's Revlon City. That dude built the Revlon City guy, Chris Paul.
Yeah. It's time for Chris Paul to show and prove this season.
Exactly. See, he's the perfect person that you see in this case here, where it's classic stats guy versus like I'm watching my eyes guy. Stats guy, all you see is dudes here on ESPN and Fox Sports, they're crunching their numbers. Oh, he's the most efficient. Oh, his per is this. Yeah. Where's he been in the playoffs? All he efficiency and per. I'm going with the eyeball test. I'm not saying I don't appreciate analytics. I do deal with analytics every day. I get that. But there's still something called the eyeball test and your chest and your heart chest. It's like, yo, this dude ain't getting it done in postseason. Sorry.
He's not getting it done.
He ain't ready,
He doesn't pass the smell test right now.
No.
Like you don't smell that championship on it.
Right. I don't care how many analytics you give me. That's what I'm seeing. Scrap the analytics. That's all it comes down to at this point. Get her done. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's one thing to put up the numbers, but the actual, the actual effect that you have on that team, in terms of getting them over that hump, he hasn't shown that thus far.
So we'll see. Yeah, and we strayed a little bit for Oklahoma City, but overall, I think if they get the first round match with Oklahoma City, I don't think they want any part of it. We'll see, but because I think there's a team. I think the Clippers is a team that needs to have a few rounds under the belt to feel confident to be a team like Oklahoma City. They see if Oklahoma City gets the first round, gets either one of them or the Spurs, that's gonna be a piece of something that we're going down, guy. Let me tell you something. That's gonna be something to watch, guy. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But I am curious to see how this experiment is gonna play with Oklahoma City. I lose no sleep for Oklahoma City. Sorry, Oklahoma City fans, wherever you may be. The ones, if there's any outside of Oklahoma City, I don't know, but. I'm sorry. You got GM and ownership that plays in the cheap, and you end up getting what you get. So I lose no sleep for you on that one. But we'll see.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyhow, man, any final thoughts for you?
Just looking forward to seeing, these guys come back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
God, please, God, let the Lakers win at least one.
And on that note, where can the good folks find you, man?
So you can find me at Mr. Ravi _Porvita on Twitter.
And that is actually his Twitter handle this time, so don't, folks. He's got the correct one.
That's right.
And you can find me at Beyond Locker Room, short form RM as usual. Subscribe above, comments below. We look forward to hearing you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.